There you go, straightforward corned beef and tomato pie. Hi everyone, welcome to Backyard Chef. I'm Rick. Today we're doing a retro one, a very easy old retro type recipe. We're going to do corned beef and tomato pie. It's been requested so many times, it's not hard to do. It's a straightforward recipe. We're using tinned corned beef. Now obviously when this was first very popular, you know, 70s there, well before that actually, but into the 70s, corned beef was really cheap. We know it's not cheap anymore. So it's corned beef, it's tomatoes, it's quick, let's get on and do it. And we're using ready rolled pastry, so that makes it even easier. However, this is mine, and if you want to make it, it's on the channel. Okay, straightforward, tin of corned beef, there, tomatoes, and a couple of onions. So what we're going to do is dice up the onions, chuck them back in here, and then we're going to dice up the tomatoes. Come on. So nice and straightforward, in we go. As big or as small as you like. Up to you. Just like that. Back in your bowl. So it is corned beef and tomato, but we want onion in there for flavour as well. And it's also a bit of packing, you know, because the corned beef was reasonably priced back then, so you could put in as much as you want, you know, but a pie only calls for a tin really. And it was a great way to make up a family meal. Serve it with anything, mashed potato, chips, anything like that. And obviously chips is fries if you're in America. Job done. That was easy. Right, tomatoes are exactly the same. You decide. Do you want that in there or not? If you don't want that in there, cut it off. And all we're going to do, you can slice, you can dice, you can do anything you want. Now if you slice it, you are going to get mushed tomato, which is not a problem. It depends on what you want in your pie. If you dice it, you're going to get bits of tomato in your pie. And it is a corned beef tomato pie, so it's entirely up to you. Entirely. So I'm going to crack on and do all these tomatoes. Catch you in a minute. Tomatoes prepped in there. That's it, that's our main ingredients: corned beef, tomato, onions. Let's get cooking, come on. Okay, nice and steady, we got a pan here. We're going to go in here with some butter. Now of course you can use oil, it's entirely up to you, but we're making a delicious pie, we want some flavour. Now you can bob in just a little bit of oil. That will stop the butter from burning. In there, onions. Nice little whizzle on there. New word for today. Just twizzle whizzle, get it all stirred in. Start to cook out the rawness of the onion. Now, did you have tomato and corned beef pie? Were you brought up on it, you know? Many were, many weren't. It is absolutely delicious. Now we're not going to use salt in this pie because we're using tinned corned beef. And tinned corned beef is a little bit salty. Okay, we're going to go in there. Now you can use mixed herbs or any herbs of choice. We're going in here with some dried thyme. Again, you all know me, I like the herbs to bloom in the oil while we're cooking. It intensifies the flavour. I don't like to boil it in the stock. Now, cooking out these onions is about 5 to 7 minutes, depending how high you cook them and your pan and everything else. So just take your time. You don't want raw onion in your pie, unless you like raw onion. Once you've had about 5 minutes on there, in there with your tomatoes. Nice little stir in. Right, these are going to start to break down and they're going to take on some flavour. They always take more flavour on when they are cooked, which makes this pie a delight. Obviously raw tomatoes are for eating with lettuce. Cooked tomatoes, fantastic in everything else. This is one of those recipes, you know, if you grow loads of tomatoes and you haven't got a clue what to do, make a tomato pie. Or there's even a tomato quiche on the channel. Go ahead and make that one. A lot of flavour here. Okay, it's seasoned to taste, and like I say, I'm not using salt. I am going in there with black pepper. You can use white, obviously. You can put chili flakes in here. Absolutely superb. Now what we are doing, we are trying to cook the tomatoes down a little bit. But we want tomato in our pie. You know, it's corned beef and tomato. So don't dissolve them all. We want to be going in there with some Worcester sauce. A good couple of tablespoons actually. Now if you use Henderson's or anything like that, or whatever Worcester sauce around the world, enjoy. Get that in there, build up that flavour. And obviously you can use soy sauce if you do not want to use Worcester sauce. Now we're using tin corned beef today, but you can make this with corned beef that you've made with a joint of beef, not a problem. In there with a couple of tablespoons of tomato puree or tomato paste, whatever you know it by. Give it a little stir in. Start that cooking in there. Okay, we want to be adding our beef stock. I'm using from powder. We're just going to cook this for about 8 minutes or something, just to thicken this up. We don't want such a runny filling inside. Now you can thicken this obviously with a cornstarch slurry. That will thicken up quite nicely. All we're doing now is just cooking for thickness. Just take it down a little bit, get all those flavours in there, and just let it thicken up. There we go, it's starting to thicken up now. What we're going to do is just add a little bit of sugar. Sugar is completely optional, but you know, this has got a really sour tomato taste, and not sour as in like a lemon, but it's got that really tomatoey taste. So a little bit of sugar in there, just balance it, and that balances perfectly because once you put the corned beef is salty, you've got that little bit of sour, and now we're going to sweeten it just a bit, but you're not going to taste it like it's too sweet. So, you know, a little bit goes a long way. Just balance it out. There we go, we got a reasonable thick tomato and onion paste type filling going on there. That's enough. Turn off the flame, let it go cold. Now you could actually put the corned beef in there and cook it if you want, but the corned beef's already cooked. It doesn't need to be cooked anymore. It's going to go in the pie. So just let this cool down, and then we'll stir the corned beef in here and make our pie. Okay, we've got a nice cooling mixture there, look. Let's just put that to one side. Right, corned beef. It's straightforward corned beef out of a tin, as you can see. Now, we don't want to mash it to death. Just bring it in like that, just give it a little mashing up. We don't want mush, we're going to have to stir that in there. Now, here's the thing. You can stir that straight into there. Okay, not a problem. And you're going to get the corned beef in there with that tomato onion mixture. If you stir a little bit of cold mashed potato in there, you're getting more of a filling. You're packing out the filling. So if you just stir that through there, now you're not going to see the mashed potato obviously because it's going to be in there. So just stir it through with your corned beef. That just packs it out. Now that's just a little bit of something there to help out to make it into a family meal. Just to pack it out a little bit. As you can see, look, the mashed potatoes just disappearing in the corned beef. You ain't going to see it. But it looks like you've got a lot more. Okay, so all we're going to do is mix that into our tomato mix. Nice and steady, and it goes. So we want that in there. You know, some people probably won't even have the mashed potato to do, but you know, I've always got bits of mashed potato. So we're just going to stir that through. Now, try not to mush it in. Try to just gently stir it through. Now, the corned beef is not going to be chunks of beef in there. Come on. That is superb. That is a fantastic filling right there. That is corned beef. See, you can't even see the mashed potato. Always use your noggin, fill it out. Okay, let's put it together. Now the oven temperature today is going to be 200 degrees. Right, here's a little tip. Okay, I'm going to use this tin and I'm going to fill it. We're going to have a big pie here. Now this tin is an 8-inch spring form. It has this lip on the inside. Now you can turn in this upside down, the base. Put that on there and just jiggle it up in there into where that recess is on the inside. Give it a little push down so it fits in there. Now we don't have anything for the pie to get stuck on. Okay, and you fold that inside like that. And then when you come to take it out, you pop it out, you undo the paper and slide it off. Nice and easy. So it's common sense. We need to roll out the pastry to go in the bottom and up the sides. That looks like it'll fit, look. Get your pastry. And we want it in that tin. In there. Dump it in though. Nice and straightforward, straight down to the bottom. Leave it overhang if you can. That's going to help us seal the top. In we go. Okay, we are using a beaten egg to go over the top of this. Use this egg white and brush into the bottom of this pie. This is going to give us a seal on there. Okay, just do that. And then we're not going to have a soggy bottom on our pie. So we can beat that up and then that's ready for our top. It's as easy as that. We want our tomato corned beef in there. Of course we do, come on. And pack it in. We are eating it. Get it all in there. Okay, we want a lid. Of course we do. We need something on there. Chuck a little bit of flour on your surface. And let's have a lid. That should fit that, I reckon. Now, you can put a little bit of egg round there on this one. Don't put too much on. And we're on there. Now, if you've got too much of an overhang, get rid of it. Right from the start. Okay, and what we're doing is folding over. Roll it over. That's going to seal it up. That's going to push it down in there. That's going to give us our crust. There you go. We got a beautiful pie all ready to go. Do we need to do all this? No, we're not going to. We need to put a couple of vents in the top because this thing's got to steam. There is a lot of fluid in there. On there, egg wash. Nice little egg wash over the top. We'll get a golden pie. Absolutely beautiful. Stick that in the oven for about 30-35 minutes. Okay, we've got time. Look at that. That is absolutely sensational. Let it cool down about 10 minutes. We'll pop it out and we'll cut some. Look at that. Oh, come on. How easy is that? Look at that. Remember what I said at the start of the video? Unwrap that paper under there. And this pie will slide straight off the tin onto the plate. So let's move this. You ready? There we have it. There's our tin, there's our paper, there's our pie. In there. Come on, you know we've got a nice short crust pastry. We're going to come in there and I'll be surprised if this stays together. Oh, look at that. That is actually pretty good on there. There you go, straightforward corned beef and tomato pie. Of course it's runny, it's a runny interior. Serve it with chips, peas, anything like that, mashed potato. Absolutely sensational. In here, come on. Oh yeah. Oh, that is incredible. I love that. Fantastic, intense tomato flavour because we cooked it in the pan before putting it in here. Taste that corned beef through there. It's not salty. It's a fantastic balance actually inside. It's delicious. And obviously the pastry is our pastry, but you know, if you use ready rolled, super duper. That is an easy meal. There you go, an easy one. An old style retro dinner. You know, in the days when tin corned beef was really cheap and you would throw together a good family pie like this, serve it with peas, mashed potato or chips. Oh, incredible. If you like what we're doing, don't forget to share with your friends. Tell them about the old retro style corned beef and tomato pie. And if you do like what we're doing, a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell. Catch you in the next video.